Thank you all, not only for inviting me here today, but also for the work this parish has done for our clients over the last several months. I can't express our gratitude enough at a time that has been very trying for our agency. USCRI Erie has been doing the work we do today for well over 100 years. We were founded as the International Institute, and actually USCRI Erie, or the International Institute, in Erie is the second oldest international institute in the United States. There was one before us, which was in Albany. So for 106 years now, we have been doing the same work day to day, and that is welcoming people to our home. So I've been honored to be a part of USCRI for just shy of 2 years now, and the changes we've seen have been pretty dramatic. Refugee resettlement is at a pause right now. Last year, we welcomed 540 people to the city of Erie. And that is really what is helping to reverse Erie's population decline. Us, along with the two other agencies, welcome about 1,500 people a year. And these are all families fleeing war, persecution, violence, famine, much like the stories we hear. And what that means for us now is we have spent the last 100 years welcoming people through our doors, teaching them English, helping them get jobs, helping set them up for success. We enroll their children in school. We do everything that you think about needing to do when you move to a new community. The difference here is that possibly no one in your family speaks English, right? And so if no one like the International Institute or USCRI or Catholic Charities or MCRC are there to help guide people through this process, you don't know what you don't know. And so we continue to see families for years beyond resettlement. If that means they need a new job or they're enrolling a child in school for the first time, they may have become completely self-sufficient. And truth be told, that is our goal. Our goal as social workers or social work adjacent has always been to work ourselves out of jobs, to make the world such a good place people don't need the help we provide. So when refugees come to the United States, there is this misconception out there, we'll call it. Refugee resettlement is not open borders. These people are extremely well vetted. The average residency in a refugee camp at the low end is 18 to 24 months. I have staff who lived in refugee camps for 17 years before they came to the United States. Those years are filled with background checks, interviews, and just trying to live their day-to-day lives in some form of safety. After they relocate to the United States, we help everyone learn English. We get everyone a job. We help them settle into places and enroll their children in school to accomplish that American dream that really when my grandparents came from Poland and from Ireland, they learned English at the International Institute. And so all I'm doing and my staff are doing is the same thing, but refugees didn't exist before 1951, so they were all immigrants at that time. And so our staff work tirelessly day in and day out to help people just live life in the United States that is all anybody can dream of. Refugees do not get to choose where they are resettled. Out of all of the countries in the world, there are 28 nations that accept refugees. The United States is one of which, and about 24 states in the United States accept refugees. So for Erie to be one of these locations is really fascinating and really contributes to our community. My refugee population are out there doing incredibly hard jobs that people don't necessarily want to do. It seems like a stereotype, but it is very true. But what that really means is because we resettle, Erie, for example, resettles about 1,500 people a year. If you multiply that smaller or larger, US resettles about 100,000 refugees a year. There are something like 17 million refugees sitting in camps around the world waiting to be resettled. And so that process is trying and takes a very long time. I am blessed with a staff and volunteers who work incredibly hard day in and day out. I always say I'm a terrible example of a USCRI employee. I'm white, I grew up here, I was educated here. English is my first language and I only speak one language. My staff, as John can attest, 80% of my staff are resettled refugees. The average number of languages spoken by a staff member at USCRI is 6, English being the most recent. We see refugees who are cardiac surgeons coming and are now working in a plastic shop. I have an OBGYN from Afghanistan. She's a woman. She can't get a job here because her credentials don't transfer. So what we see are really communities coming together and taking care of themselves and using skills from what they know, but they do still, to some extent, rely on the Erie community and the extended region. This terrible car accident that happened on 26th Street a couple weeks ago was unfortunately one of our clients. And so while she has some family here in the United States able to help her through this crisis, USCRI, even though she has been here, stepped back in and has helped take care of her in a different circumstance. These are all circumstances that if any one of us who grew up here experienced, we would still have to rely on our family and friends to help us get through. We have another client who a tree fell through the roof on her house during one of these storms. And so she stepped in and said, hey, I am typically very self-sufficient, but I need to move, and I really wasn't planning on another security deposit for an apartment right now. These are the needs our clients have. No one is asking for anything extravagant. And so I thank you all. Bicycles have come so much from this congregation and the surrounding neighborhoods. And while we often see bicycles as a means of exercise or leisure, all of these families are now using them to get to work every day. Or the diaper drive that this congregation supported, that takes just a little bit of stress off a family who is already experiencing severe need. And so I will be here after the service. If you have any specific questions, please, John is becoming incredibly well-versed in the ways of our office and how to help. But I thank you all for the work, not only this congregation, but the Episcopal Church does overall to support refugee resettlement in what otherwise would be an incredibly trying time for us. And I truly cannot express our gratitude enough for your support, your continued support, and your desire to learn and to grow and to accept people as we have all been called to do.